All right, golfers, you want to hit straighter shots, have more club face control. I'm going to show you today the Tour Striker Educator. This device goes on the top of your club and it's going to teach you to control the face like you haven't felt before. If you like the information in this video, hit the link down below if you want to find out the price of the Educator and where to get it from. Also hit the like button while you are down there. So the Educator is this simple device, this kind of like L-ish shape with a little screw at the top here that we're going to screw this onto the top of the club. We also have another little lock screw here because the arm adjusts, making this device quite unique. So we can click the arm down and up to get it into position. So let's get this into position to kick us off. What we're going to do is it basically just fits on top of the golf club. I've got mid-sized grips. They go on all grips because it basically clamps down, as you can see, on the top of the golf club. And what we're looking at doing is getting the Educator in line with the grooves of your club. So the bottom groove, we want the Educator in line with that. Now, a common mistake I see people make is they do it with everything all level. My 9-iron that I'm hitting here is going to be set up this way. So I want the grooves to be level while in this setup position with the Educator. Meaning what I do, I pop it on the ground here, get my shaft lean and loft that I'm after, and then I just literally one eye closed, lean forward, and I line them up. Meaning what you're going to notice, if I go dead straight, you're going to notice that it's slightly offset. This allows me to get my grip on, and it gets the Educator in a position where it actually will educate me how to control this club face. So with the Educator on, basically it's touching the top of my forearm when I grip onto the club, allowing me now to have a very tactile connection to the club face, because as the club face goes back around my body, if this was to come off my forearm, so if this Educator was to move off, that's me basically rotating the face. So the face now becomes the stick at the top, because when one twists, the other one twists as well. And the reason it's called the Educator, this is now going to give me educational feel, actual feedback of when I'm twisting and turning the club around. Because if I was to twist the club down to the ground more, well, I can't do it because the Educator runs into my arm. It pushes harder against my arm, so I'd have to start doing this. So it restricts that movement. And if I'm someone who fans the club up to the sky, so opens the face, gets to the top with an open face, there starts becoming a gap here towards me and the Educator, and that's when you start seeing those shots. I mean, who watching this video doesn't struggle with weak shots being lost off to the right? That was all club face control, and I could feel that because of how that was working against my arm. I've done hundreds of lessons talking about face control, and what the Educator is doing is it's putting a tactile feel into the lessons I do with real students and here on YouTube and on other platforms. So with the Educator on, I'm just going to hit a few easy 9-irons where I really try and feel like this stays connected to my lead arm, and what you're going to notice is it's pretty hard to hit a shot very far offline. It's given me such face control, literally I can just think about how I'm moving my body, how I'm turning, how I'm pushing in the ground, and I can let club face just do what it does. That one's perfect. So the connection of the Educator to the forearm is fantastic for feeling club face, but there's other uses for the same ideas, but we can push them on. I'm just going to loosen, and I'm now going to put the Educator on. Now it's tightened on, but it's at more of an angle. So hopefully you can see that now. It's more of an angle this way. So as I come in now to address this ball, the Educator is actually slightly off my forearm. This is how I like using it and how I like using it with students, because I like students to get a feeling of moving the face more in a de-lofted down to the ground, flat lead wrist way. And what this does is you have the gap at the beginning, and then you build in the tactile feel of actually flattening lead wrist. And you're going to notice now that what happens to my shots. This is where it's promoting a little bit more of a draw. So by being off my forearm to then going on, you can see what that does to the club face. And with the adjustability at the top here, it's just slightly missing my forearm. So I'm going to move it up a little bit. It's a little bit more in a right angle. So more of it's now sticking out in front of me and it stays on my forearm. It isn't getting lost between my arms. Oh yeah, like that's my wrist angles there. So I'm actually using the Educator, not only of its angle at the start, as well as its angle here to dial it in to the wrist angles I want to use. And that's what I love about this. It can move, grow, work with you. If you're someone who adds lots of angle in that lead wrist and struggles with those cuts off to the right, getting it off your forearm and then in the swing working and putting it on, it's such a positive feeling for getting some very different flighted, directional golf shots. But there's more. So I'm going to keep it on at my preferred angle, but I'm going to take the top here and I'm going to unscrew and click it up so it's in the most upright position. Tighten that back down. So I've got my angle here, but we're in the more upright position, which just slightly catches me. So again, this is what I love about this, because we're all going to be different arm length sizes. I'm just going to do one click down, so I'm now between the green and the red mark here. So a little less in the upright position, but more that way. Now you can see the Educator's between my arms here, and then when I go up to the top and start down, it's now popping out in front of my arm here. So I'm going from between to out in front. Again, this is now taking the tactile feel away from this lead arm. And it's giving me a visual in my practice swings to see if I'm moving my wrist angles the way I want to move them. Because if I was going to add angle into the lead wrist here, opening that club face up, adding loft, you can see where it is. It's still between my arms. This action here is what's going to create those wafters off to the right. Where if I feel it's between my arms and then get it outside of my arm on the way down, look what happens. That really starts exaggerating that turn for me, because I'm really starting to work those wrist angles, and for me on that occasion, too much, because you know, I am doing it quite extreme here, and that's the beauty of it. You can dial it into a lot or a little, depending on how far out you are at the beginning. Anyone who wants to get control of their golf ball, practice with some purpose. The Educator is just fantastic for allowing you to feel what that club face is with the tactile touch. But there's more, because Martin Chuck, who designs these, is a good friend and a really good teacher, and he knows that if this can do a lot of things, it'll like cram it all into one device. I like it for this too. So I've got a chipping club, 58-degree wedge here, and I've got the Educator at the end, but I've got it now pointing at a right angle basically to the grooves. It's pointing out towards me. I'm going to twist the top here so it basically goes up into the red mark. So we're now at the most upright part of the Educator. And now this is connecting to my tummy, lead side tummy. And I want to come up and through with club and body on the way through. So basically what this is doing is it comes slightly away from my tummy as I make my backswing. As I come in to hit my chip, it connects, and then I turn and come up with it connected. Keeps this lead arm nice and short, releases this wrist, gets me so connected on the chip shots, allowing me to really start working now on strike with chipping. It's like hilarious. The feeling of connection is just fantastic up through this lead side. So finishing basically with it up touching lead side. It's lovely for little lofted, very unduffy chip shots. If I was someone who wants to really bury that leading edge in, you know, the old fashioned way of chipping, look where it is. It's stuck way out in front of me. But we're not finished. I should work for the shopping channel. Look, I don't care if you buy this or not, but it's so useful for so many applications. So I've now got it on my putter, and my putter has a big chunky Arcos sensor at the top and a fit grip, but it still fits on. And again, I've got it at that right angle going forward, so basically it's forward of the leading edge. And it now connects to my forearm up here. You can see it's slightly bent back, but I could just bend this a little bit more. And go one click back, so I'm now further back than the red. That's now pushing less on my lead wrist or my lead forearm, but it is. And this is giving me a feeling of putting, of connected. If I'm someone who tries to hinge wrists a lot, that really digs in. If I'm someone who adds wrists, it comes off. So with my putting as well, I can practice staying so connected like, I love this for putting because I've measured myself on hack motion. It's something I've also reviewed with putting, and I'm quite flex my wrist or flatten it and then push putts. And I've been working on trying to stop doing that. And this basically just dials into that feeling with this crazy connection. Tour Striker Educator, use my code for the best price. It teaches you how to use your wrist angles, how to control your wrist angles, how to control the club face. Goes on any club, super simple with many applications. There's also free videos from Martin Chuck with his ideas of applications, how to use this. If you want to find out about hack motion that I mentioned in this video as well, this is a technical piece of equipment, costs a lot more than this, but does similar ideas to this. Check this video out if you're into learning about how to control your golf swing.